Update. Am I the a-hole for saying to my father that I will run away if he reconciles with my cheating egg donor? Original post. Hi, I am a 17-year-old male and had my worst birthday last week. For context, my dad and my egg donor divorced when I was 14. So yeah, this is going to be 3 years worth of details. My egg donor cheated on my dad and had a year-long affair. My dad found out and during the separation, explained what happened. I was already mature and was having big conversations with my dad, like politics, so he didn't hide anything. I was, and still am, disgusted with my egg donor. I swore that day that I would never call her mom again. Even now, I either call her by her name or just say, "Hey you," to start a conversation. She moved in with her affair partner. My dad got the house, but unfortunately couldn't get full custody. I wasn't given a preference because while I was staying with my dad during the separation, I got into a fight at school. Yeah, I have a bit of a temper issue. My egg donor's lawyer used that to get joint custody until I turned 18. I was like, WTF in court. I think my egg donor slept with the judge to get that ruling. My dad is a great human being, period. He has never raised his voice and has always loved me so much. He occasionally says, "I love you, son," which makes me cringe, but I accept it. My dad is a very loving person. He always says he has an ocean of love to give. He loved my mom so much. Whenever my egg donor returned from work, my dad used to hug her, give her a kiss, and ask her how her day was, even when she was having a year-long affair. I don't know what kind of human she is to keep up a facade when your partner is loving you so much. Things became serious last month when I had a huge fight with my entire maternal side of the family. I was very close with my maternal grandparents, but I started distancing myself after the divorce. We visited my grandparents' house. I was angry that affair partner was present with my egg donor, and the trip was for an entire weekend. I wasn't very keen on it, but my dad convinced me that it was going to be great. Boy, was he wrong. For the past 2 years, my grandparents have asked me many times to change my attitude toward my egg donor, but I never cared. Things went crazy when they tried to have an intervention with me. Grandparents, egg donor, and affair partner were present. I was completely blindsided. All 4 of them were sitting opposite me. They gave me the entire couch to sit by myself. It was like a therapy session. Egg donor and grandparents started their attack one by one, while affair partner was silent. My temper took over, and the a-hole version of me came out. I turned toward affair partner and said, "Hey you, F off. This is between family." Everyone was shocked at my tone. Egg donor tried to end the intervention because she knew what would happen when this side of me comes out. But my grandparents didn't budge. I am their only grandson, and they didn't want to lose connection with me as I started distancing myself. Affair partner was ashamed and was leaving when I said other hurtful things. I said, "She cheated on my dad with you. She will cheat on you with someone else." That caused more damage. He couldn't say a word. Then I hit the final blow. "I hope your son also gets cheated on by his future wife so he can know what kind of a-hole his father is." That hit him hard. He was angry and stormed out. Egg donor wanted to follow him, but I did not let her go. I asked her to sit so we could finish this once and for all. Egg donor started crying, saying, "How can her only son treat her this way?" Grandparents were disappointed in me. I turned toward my egg donor and started unloading everything. I explained how much I loved her, how much dad loved her, and how she betrayed us. I brought up the times when I used to sleep next to her after watching horror movies, even though I was 13, and said how she was my safe space, how much I cared for her and everything. I said, "Just imagine how much you have ruined everything, that so much love turned into hatred." She couldn't control her sobbing after that. Even my grandparents started to cry. It was hard seeing my grandfather cry, but what can you do when you raise a whore like my egg donor? She started to shift blame toward my dad, saying he had poisoned me. Classic victim card move. The thing is, my dad, after the divorce, attended therapy sessions to get his life back on track. The last step of that therapy was to make a video about your feelings. My dad made a video of how he forgave my egg donor and wished her a great life. He was supposed to send the video to her but couldn't, so he sent it to me. I played the 2-year-old video and everyone just sat silently. No shocking reaction, nothing, because they knew how great of a person my dad is. My egg donor couldn't control her emotions. I even doubled down by saying, "Me and Dad loved you so much that we were ready to take a bullet for you. But now, even if you die tomorrow, I will not be visiting your funeral." I turned toward my grandparents and started shouting at them, asking how they could raise their daughter to be a cheater. I so wanted to use the W word but controlled myself. I also said that now I can't trust girls in my school and I'm scared to get a girlfriend. Both my grandparents and egg donor didn't say anything. I couldn't stay there anymore and called my dad to pick me up. My grandparents apologized to my dad when he came to pick me up for how he was treated during the divorce. My dad knew something was up but didn't say anything. Egg donor and affair partner had gone out for a walk. I forgot to mention, my dad started dating again and met an amazing woman. She is also a divorcee with no kids. She treats my dad amazingly, and he deserves someone amazing. All of that huge fight at my grandparents' house led to what happened last week on my birthday. Egg donor came to my birthday without affair partner, which was surprising, but I didn't care. After the party, both my egg donor and dad were having a conversation on the balcony. I could hear everything. It was shocking to know that dad and egg donor were in contact for a week prior, where she begged my dad for forgiveness, and my dad forgave her. On the balcony, she was asking if they could reconcile and start a new chapter. I was shocked to hear that. So was my dad. She said she broke up with a fair partner because she realized she was still in love with dad. What a load of bullcrap. They realized I heard everything and came to the living room so all three of us could discuss this. What was shocking was my dad was actually considering saying we could become a family again. I shouted at him and asked him to recall how much my egg donor betrayed us, how he had to go to therapy to get his life back on track. Dad was stuck in between. Egg donor tried everything to convince him, recalling how great our family was and that we could go back to that. I was having none of it and asked my egg donor to leave. Dad asked me to speak respectfully to her. As I said, he is a great human. I even mentioned how a fair partner and my egg donor were together for years but didn't get married. She said it was their choice. I couldn't take it anymore and went brutal on my dad. I said, "When you were here hugging and kissing your wife as soon as she came home and asking how her day went, she was somewhere moaning to some other guy's strokes." That hit my dad hard. He looked at me in shock. I also said, "If you get back together, I will run away and never contact you." He didn't say a word and just left to take a walk. I knew then and there I had said something horrible. My egg donor left without saying anything. I called my dad. He didn't pick up the first time, but when he did, I apologized and asked why he would even consider taking her back. I said he has an amazing girlfriend right now. This was something my dad didn't know. He thought I hated his girlfriend like I hated a fair partner. But as soon as I said that, he asked me to tell the truth, whether I really like his girlfriend and wouldn't object if she became part of our family. I happily said yes, and I wouldn't hesitate to call her Mom. Dad was very happy to hear that. When my egg donor found out, she got angry and asked how I could choose someone else over her. I said, "I'd pick even the devil over you." She said I was heartless and that what I said and did was very hurtful. My dad asked me to go to therapy to get control over my temper and my mouth. I am considering it. My grandparents called and said it's time to forgive my egg donor like my dad did. I said no. They said what I said and did on my birthday was wrong. So, am I the a-hole for saying to my father that I will run away if he reconciles with my cheating egg donor? Now for the top comments before reading the update. First of all, let me just say, you are not the a-hole here. Your mom and affair partner are the a-holes for their actions and trying to put the blame on your dad for their own mistakes. Second, I think it's time to start calling your mom by her real name instead of egg donor. And third, props to your dad for being a genuinely good person and trying to forgive your mom even after everything she's done. That takes a lot of strength and love. Stay strong, my friend. Thanks for that. I don't call her egg donor. I call her by her real name. I didn't want to mention names on Reddit, so I used egg donor. I'd definitely take your dad's advice and get help for your anger. All that rage isn't good and will only cause you problems in the future. Thanks for that. I am really considering it. Now for the update. Hi guys. It's been 2 weeks since my original post, and I've come with an update. First things first, I read all your comments under my post. Man, people on Reddit love supporting cheaters. First, I'll answer a few doubts. For those who were saying my dad alienated me against my egg donor, you need to know one thing. When dad kicked her out, she moved in with a fair partner. So I knew at that time that she cheated, even without my dad saying it. Plus, I was 14 when they separated, meaning I already knew what cheating meant. Coming to some good news. As you guys and my dad suggested, I started therapy. It's been great. Granted, only 2 sessions have happened, but still, it's great. There is a lot of anger and hatred that I have to deal with, and it's going to take some time to get over it. Now, coming to the update. I got a drunk call from a fair partner last week, and man, he revealed a lot. A fair partner didn't even know that he was a fair partner. Yeah, you heard that right. My egg donor, while cheating, said that she and dad were separated and were sleeping in separate rooms. She also said they were together only for my sake, and that as soon as I enter high school, they were going to get divorced. I was shocked out of my mind, as none of that was true. Dad and her always had date nights, and had even gone on a trip just the 2 of them, during that 1 year she was cheating. A fair partner said he didn't know about any of that and thought he was in a legitimate relationship until I spilled everything at my grandparents' house. He said the comment about his son was a punch in the gut, and that's when he decided to break up with my egg donor. He said, "Have a good life," and cut the call. Man, I feel bad for a fair partner. He didn't know he was in a cheating relationship. Now this all makes sense. Remember when I said F off to a fair partner in my grandparents' house? My egg donor tried to stop the intervention, but I cut her off and spilled everything. I think even my grandparents don't know the entire truth. I then confronted my mom about all of this. My egg donor was first angry that a fair partner drunk dialed me. I guess she's still a mother. Then she came clean and started crying, saying she still loved dad, but this was like an adrenaline rush kind of thing, and she made a mistake. I just cut the call, as I couldn't hear any more excuses. She said one thing, not to tell my dad, as he is happy now and she doesn't want to disturb his happiness. Even I think I shouldn't say anything to my dad, especially about a fair partner drunk dialing me, because I know for sure my dad is going to ruin his life. For those wondering, my dad is rich and his lawyers are sharks. Get this, my parents never signed a prenup, yet my egg donor did not get anything in the divorce except for custody. My dad has connections, so I don't know what he would do to a fair partner. I am thinking of going no contact with my mom after I turn 18 and go to college. It hurts because I loved her for 14 years, and going no contact is a scary thought. Last story. Am I the a-hole for losing my temper with my estranged father's stepkids who keep trying to bring me into their family? I'm about to turn 17 and have never met my father until a year ago. He bailed on my mom when she was pregnant with me, left town, and avoided child support for years. We live in a small town, so I always heard about him. He and my mom had been a couple for like 10 years, from ages 14 to 24, and they were engaged in everything, but apparently a kid was too much. His family wouldn't help my mom track him down, and they acted all kinds of weird around me. I cared, but not that much. My normal was just me and my mom, and nothing to do with my father's family. I love my mom. We're a good team, and she gave me the best life she could. We didn't always have the most, but she kept a roof over my head, and I never had to go without food. She did it all without anything from my father, and she tried many times to get child support, even got an agency involved to track him down. But they said if he was working, it wasn't officially. By the time I was 12, I had decided that if my father ever changed his mind, it would be too late. He didn't get to abandon me like that and come back full of regrets. I never expected it, though, not with how good he was at hiding and how weird his family was around me. They're the kind of people who are nice to mostly everyone, but it was like they wanted to tell me to get the heck away from them but couldn't. Being from such a small town meant I couldn't avoid seeing them around either. But then a year ago, my mom was contacted. My father reached out to tell her he was moving back and wanted a relationship with me and would pay back all he owed her. I hated the idea, but he showed up with a wife and like 5 stepkids. He acted like I was going to run out and throw myself at him or something and call him dad and stuff. Whenever I talk to him, I use his first name. I've shut down all attempts to have a relationship with me. He took my mom to court, and a judge wouldn't order parenting time, but we are forced to attend reunification therapy together once a week until I turn 18. He doesn't let it stop him from trying to see me and trying to make me spend time with him. He has apologized and talked about all the regrets he has, and how stepping up for his wife's kids made him realize he messed up. And he wants a chance and all that kind of BS. But it's not just him. His wife has tried sometimes. She's a lot easier to avoid because her car stands out, and I just go another way if I see it. But her kids, 2 are close to my age, and they are relentless. They approach me in school, in the library, at the diner where I work, and even when I'm hanging out with friends. They told me how good of a dad my father was to them, and how he really wants me in his life, and how they think it'd be cool to have another brother. I told them I wasn't interested. I ignored them. I told them hearing all that crap about the guy who abandoned me wasn't making me more open to seeing him, and it freaking hurt. But their team estranged father all the way, and I guess he talks to his family about the therapy sessions because they bring up stuff from there when they try to get me to, I don't know, bond with him or agree to be their brother or whatever. Last Friday is when I might have gone too far. Maybe. I was working after school, and they showed up with their 3 younger siblings and tried to talk about my father. My boss had to ask them to leave and warn them they wouldn't be allowed back in if they kept interrupting stuff. They waited for me and followed me to the library and sat at the table I was studying at. I had to leave after only 15 minutes because I couldn't concentrate. When we got outside, I lost my temper and I told them to get lost and leave me alone. I didn't want to be their brother. I didn't want a relationship with their dad. I wanted them all to get the heck away and go back to wherever they moved from and pretend they don't know me because I don't want to know any of them. Then I said my father could drop dead for all I care when the oldest, I think, told me how much it meant to my father. I said I'd rather be homeless on the streets than be part of their crappy family. The younger kids were upset, and the older 2 were both shocked and angry. I didn't stick around or apologize or try to say anything calmer. I just left. But people heard me, and it was the talk of the town all weekend, and my father blamed my mom. It came up in our therapy appointment yesterday, and he's mad, but still won't freaking leave. He said it wasn't right what I did, but he won't give up. He told me I owed his stepkids an apology, and I'm not doing that. I ignored the stuff he said about why I needed to. But I know this is going to stay an issue, and maybe I wasn't fair, especially when there were younger kids right there. So, am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. That's harassment. I would report to the judge and even police if I were your mother. That's not healthy for everyone. How the heck they explain the last missing 15 years if he is such a great father? The judge knows. My mom and father were back in court a few weeks ago. The judge didn't seem to care though. It doesn't help that we're in such a small town, so running into people is expected. What sucks is I wanted to stay close to home after high school, and now I'm thinking they might just chase me away from my home to avoid them. He stepped up for them so they think he's the best. They don't give a damn about the fact he wasn't there for me.